spent your senior year, though, in Afton, right?
Huh?
You finished up high school in Afton, though, right?
My senior year, I finished up here. Mother was able to care for us that year. She was going good enough she could keep us. Mm-hmm. And I was also working at a funeral home after school and on weekends. So I had money to spend. But when I came up here, Dad had bought me a 31 Chevrolet to drive back and forth to school. Mm-hmm. Back when we lived in Witcher, because he had to take us 6 miles to school, and there wasn't any school buses. And so he bought me an old 31 Chevrolet, but he wouldn't let me bring it with me when I came to Afton. Mm-hmm. He sold up. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to come stay with my mother. Mm-hmm.
So tell me the story about the time you backed the car into the garage.
About the what?
The story about the time you backed the car into the garage.
Oh. Well, I had me a date over at Turleton, Oklahoma. That's pretty close to Alice, this little oil town over there. It's about 3 miles over there. And I was rushing to get over there. And Dad had bought me 2 new tires for the back, cost $9 for them, for that old 31 Chevy. Well, I got it in a ditch, and there's a big rock there. I lost control of it. And I hit that big rock, busted a tire, so I put the spare on. Well, I didn't know how to tell Dad, so when I got home, I backed her in the garage. That was a mistake. I got grounded for that.
Yeah. He knew there was something wrong when it was backed into the garage, right?
Yeah, I should have learned never to back her into the garage. And the garage wasn't anything but an old boxcar with the end cut out of it, so yeah. And it was open and he could see it. And but I put her up every night in that boxcar. Mm-hmm. Dad always put his car up every night. Mm-hmm. He always drove a pretty nice car. Well, he drove that old 31 Chevrolet. After we moved up to Afton, he wouldn't let us bring it with us. Mm-hmm. And he kept it. And he wore his car out during the war. Something happened to it. It was a Plymouth, and I think it got a flat crankshaft on it. And it wasn't worth fixing, so he started driving my old Chevrolet. And he drove it all through the war. Mm. Well, when I went to World War II, I signed up for the Air Force, and I brought my papers home for Mother to sign, and she wouldn't sign it. Said, "You'll get killed in an airplane." I said, "No, I won't." I couldn't even beg her till I'd pass the examination to get in the aviation cadets. Mm-hmm. Learn to fly. Well, I had a quandary what to do, so I just signed her name. They never looked at it. They just stuck me on the end. Yeah. And she never contested it. Mm-hmm. After she didn't know what to do after I was already young. Which is the best thing I ever did. Mm-hmm. And she seen it was too. I said, told her later on, I said, "Well, I'm not wallowing in the ditch." Mm-hmm. Digging foxholes and things like that. Right. Well, E.G. He didn't make her sign his papers or anything. He just let them draft him. Mm-hmm. And they took him into the infantry. He had a tough time. Yeah. He ended up in Korea. Like to froze to death up there. Mm-hmm. But he went in a year after I did. But I went to almost 2 years to school while I was in there. Right. I went to college first at Shreveport, Louisiana. Then I went to to Amarillo, Texas, to A&E school. And I went to back down for, let's see, where did I go from when there? I went up to, I can't recall now. Well, after that, I ended up in pre-flight engineering school at Amarillo. Then I went to Denver for flight engineer school. Then I went to Clovis, New Mexico, where I met my crew, the rest of my crew. And there was 11 of us, and that's where we trained before we went overseas. We trained as, it was B-29 bomber, which they called, at that time, as a photo reconnaissance, it was an F-13. It had cameras in it, and you did mosaics, photo mosaics, and took pictures of targets and stuff like that. And but when we got overseas, they didn't need any more photo reconnaissance, so they put me as a bombing crew. Well, the war ended about that time. Then all we did then was fly prisoner of war supplies and drop them with the parachutes over Japan to the prisoner of war camps. And we did a lot of air search for down pilots, crew, and that's about all the combat I did, which was really I never had a shot fired at me that I knew of.